Thanks everyone. My name is Aaron. I'm one of the mind movers or the science communicators of the Mind Museum. Welcome to Mind at Home. This episode is brought to you by Locally. Because we want to slow down the spread of the disease, COVID-19, and flatten the curve, many of us have to stay at home as much as possible. This means we still cannot go to museums or schools yet. The virus is still out there, so we should still limit going outside only when it is necessary. Remember to wear your mask properly when you have to go outside, and wash your hands regularly with soap and running water for at least 20 seconds. And while we are still staying at home, why don't we keep ourselves healthy and fit by eating fruits and vegetables, taking your vitamin supplements if you need to, and find time to exercise and get moving. Now, how can we have a little bit of fun at home, and is it possible to do it while learning? Of course! In this new series of Mind at Home, we're going to look at some of our favorite fruits. We are not just going to learn why they are important for our bodies, but also how else they can be useful for our everyday lives. We will learn these by doing simple yet fun experiments that even you can do at home. Alright, so for today, we will be talking about some fruit myths. Okay, so this one's called fruit myths, but we will also be talking about some misconceptions and some new trivia about your favorite fruits and some vegetables that are actually also fruits. Okay, so I have here a spread of fruits and one vegetable that we are going to be talking about this morning. Alright, so let's start with our first one. Okay, so all of these fruits are actually very fresh, so we just got them this morning. So that's why I'll be using some gloves to make sure that our fruits still remain food safe while I handle them for our activity this morning. Okay, so if you have any questions about the fruits or vegetables that we are going to be talking about this morning, send in your questions at the comment section below so that we can answer them here live, and we will also be putting in our answers in a written form later after the live broadcast. Okay, so our first fruit myth is that anything that has seeds is a fruit. Okay, so this is not actually a myth, so this is true. So anything, so even your vegetables that have seeds are actually fruits. Okay, so say for example, I have here some tomatoes. Okay, so this is a small tomato. So I'm going to be slicing it in half. Alright, so make sure if you're doing this at home, ask the help of your parents or your guardian if you want to slice open your fruits and vegetables. Alright, so if you could see, alright, so we have here our tomato and it has some seeds inside. Okay, so I think it's already a very well-known fact that tomatoes are actually fruits. Okay, so because they have their seeds inside. Alright, so anything that has a seed is actually a fruit. Even if you think it's a vegetable, if you use it for cooking as a vegetable, it's still a fruit if it has seeds. Alright, so let's now move to our next fruit myth. Alright, not all fruits come from trees. Okay, so this is actually very true. So say for example, your apple, okay, so the apple fruit comes from a tree. Okay, so we have apple trees, but most of them don't grow here in the Philippines. Okay, so say for example, I have here our dragon fruit. Okay, so one of our miracle fruits, so, okay, supposedly. So this actually comes from a cactus. Okay, so this is the fruit of a cactus. So if you open a dragon fruit and see that it has a lot of water inside, so that's actually because it's helping the cactus retain water. So as we all know, cactuses live usually in the desert, so that's their natural habitat. So if you open up the cactus stem, that has a lot of water. Likewise, the dragon fruit also has a lot of water inside. Alright, so let's move to our next one. Alright, bananas don't come from trees. Okay, so it seems a bit weird because you know that the banana plant looks like a very big tree with its wide leaves, right? Okay, but actually, it's not a tree. It's a forest tree or a pseudo tree. Alright, so I have here puso ng saging, the banana heart. Okay, so this is what we usually plant when you want to make a new banana tree. Okay, so this is the flower actually of your banana plant. Okay, so this banana flower, the banana fruit, the banana heart, sorry, only grows on the only true stem of your banana plant. Okay, so if we open it up, okay, so you have these. So your sort of leaves, the quote-unquote leaves of your puso ng saging. So this is what you add when you cook kare-kare, right? Okay, but you will also see some of these black stuff, okay, between these layers of leaves. So this is actually the flower of your banana plant. Okay, so if you'll notice, so it's arranged in 2 rows. Okay, so I just removed some of the flowers so you can see properly. So it's actually arranged in 2 rows. This is the first row at the bottom and then the other row at the top. Okay, so if it looks familiar to you, so this is what the banana fruit actually becomes after. Alright, so ito yung isa nating piling ng saging. Alright, so if you have cultivated bananas, those that don't need to be pollinated, so these will transform into the fruit without being pollinated by a male flower. Okay, so that's why your bananas are seedless. Because they were not fertilized by a male, there is no merging of a sperm and an egg cell of the plant, so you won't form a seed. But we will still get to enjoy the banana fruit itself being seedless. Okay, so that's why you can eat your bananas straight out of the banana peel. Alright, so let's move to our next one. Alright, so the next one is that only one orchid bears fruit. Okay, so this is very true. So if you're familiar with this container, so what do you think is inside? Okay, so this is actually a container of vanilla extract. Okay, so if you don't know, vanilla is actually an orchid. It's an orchid plant. Okay, so it comes from the Vanillum planiflorum plant. Okay, so when the vanilla flower is pollinated, it forms the vanilla bean, the vanilla pod. Okay, so you see that when you add it to your ice cream, to your coffee, or those things like that. Okay, so but this extract, so this one is mass produced, so that's why it's already in a liquid form. But for the vanilla pod, the ones that we add to your ice cream, that's the actual seeds inside your plant. All right. Okay, so that's the only orchid that bears useful fruit. Okay, so all orchids bear fruits, but only one of them is useful to humans. So that's the vanilla plant. Okay, your Vanillum planiflorum. All right, next one. Newspaper can't ripen all fruits. Okay, so this may be familiar to some of you. Binabalot natin sa dyaryo yung mga iba nating prutas para mas mabilis silang mahinog or they ripen faster. Okay, so this is because some fruits secrete ethylene. So it's a kind of gas, so you can't see it. But when ethylene is in contact with some kinds of fruits, it hastens, it fastens up, it speeds up the ripening process. Okay, but if you'll, say for example, I have here a strawberry. Okay, so you'll notice that part of the strawberry is still red, while part of it is green. Okay, so this is because your strawberry is actually one kind of fruit that does not ripen after you pick it out of the plant. Okay, so this is what you call a non-climacteric fruit. Okay, so similar to climate, non-climacteric. Okay, so this part that is green, so this will still remain green. Even if you wrap it around newspaper, you keep it near other fruits that are already ripe, so this will stay green. Okay, so this is a good segue since I already have the strawberry here. So we have another fruit myth. So this is actually quite popular already. So strawberries are not berries. Okay, so this is very true. So say for example here, I have here my strawberry. I'll just get one that's more red. Okay, so we usually think of your strawberry fruit as this one, the whole red fruit with all of its seeds all around it. Okay, but actually each individual dot, okay, so each dot of the strawberry fruit, quote-unquote fruit, is the fruit itself. Okay, so what you're seeing here, the red part, so this is actually the connection between the stem and the flower itself. Okay, so this is what you call in botany as the receptacle of the flower, the container of the flower. So when the strawberry flower is fertilized, so this enlarges and then it surrounds and attaches to the many small fruits. Okay, so the strawberry fruit is actually just one dot. Okay, so each one is an individual fruit. All right, so in an average strawberry fruit, quote-unquote fruit, you have 200 seeds, or the true fruits, 200 true fruits for each one strawberry fruit, quote-unquote fruit. All right, so this is actually very similar to your pineapple. So I have here a pineapple and a strawberry. So if you'll notice, both of them are sort of connected. So this one has many seeds that are around the red portion, and then your pineapple has many circles or eyes, yung mata ng ating pinya. Okay? So these are actually two kinds of multiple fruits. So for this one, for the strawberry, your strawberry comes from just one flower. So the 200 true fruits of each strawberry comes from 200 ovaries of one single flower. Okay, so that's for strawberries. For pineapples, each individual eye of the pineapple is one flower. All right, so say for example, we have here 100 eyes for the pineapple. There are 100 flowers that made up this pineapple. Okay, so when it was fertilized, so it merges, it joins together, nagdidikit-dikit sila, and then they form the pineapple fruit that you see here. Okay, so when you remove one of these eyes, if you get one of them and plant them, you can make a new pineapple plant already out of that. All right? Okay. Okay, now, so let's move to our last fruit myth for this morning. So this is that all citrus fruits come from only 4 or 5 parents. Okay, so this may be weird because alam natin na we have your pomelo, the suha. You have oranges, dalandans, lemons, kumquats, and the like, okay? But all of those citrus fruits, if you look at them on the inside, say for example our lemon here, so let me just slice it in half. All right, so you can see that your lemon has a crosshatch pattern. It looks radial, it looks like a wheel of a vehicle, of a car, right? Okay, so all citrus fruits look like this, your oranges, lemons, calamansi. Okay, so this is because all of those citrus fruits come from just 4 or 5 parents. Okay, so those are your kumquats, the mandarin oranges, pomelos or suha, wild type lemons, and one other citrus fruit. Okay, so those are the 5. So what's weird is that, say for example, for certain species of plants, you can't mix up, say for example, a banana and an apple. Okay, that was inverted. An apple and a banana. You can't breed them together and make a banana-apple fruit, okay? But for citrus fruits, you can combine all of them. So say for example, if I have a pomelo, a suha, and then a lemon, so it will form your oranges, your sweet oranges, okay? So this is actually a hybrid of 2 different kinds of citrus fruits. And then if you have, say for example, your dalandan, so that's the orange with a green outer coating. So the dalandan is actually the same as the sweet orange, the orange. It's the same kind of fruit. Okay, so what's only different is that dalandans grow in tropical climates, so that's why they still stay green. And then your sweet oranges live in colder climates, so that's why it removes the green coloring, that's the chlorophyll, and then it turns into this orange outer coating. So say for example, your calamansi, okay, so this comes from 2 parents. First one is the Citrus marcantha. Okay, so this is actually, the Citrus marcantha is actually native to the Philippines. So you can find it in the Visayas, in Cebu and Bohol. Okay, so it's called biasong in Cebu. All right. So that comes from one of those, the Citrus marcantha, and a wild type lemon. Okay, so your Citrus marcantha looks like a small orange. Okay, it looks like a micro orange, and then if you combine the orange and the lemon, you get your calamansi. Okay, so this is according to the latest data that all citrus fruits just come from 5 or 4 different kinds of parent citrus fruits. All right. So that's our fruit myths for this morning. If you have any questions, all right, so don't forget to place them in the chat, in the comment section below, so that we can answer them live here on our broadcast. All right, so I know some of this is weird. So say for example, your banana. Okay, so this is the flower, but it forms the fruit even without pollination. Okay, so that's because we cultivate them artificially. Okay, so in our need to make a lot of bananas, since a lot of people eat a lot of bananas, we made ways for the banana fruit to bear fruit even without pollinating. And that has the good side effect that it doesn't have seeds inside. So you can eat it all throughout. Okay? And then here, your dragon fruit. So it's weird because it doesn't actually taste like anything, but it's important to your cactus since it has a lot of water inside. All right, so if you have any questions, so place them in the comment section below so that we can answer them live here on our broadcast. Okay, so just for everyone's information, we won't be throwing out these fruits later after this broadcast. So we will be using them for lunch and the like. Okay. So do we have our questions already? Okay. So while we're waiting, okay, so what else? What weird things do we have? Okay, so say for example here, our watermelon. So we haven't mentioned the watermelon. So the watermelon is a fruit that also doesn't come from trees. So it comes from a vine. Okay? So of course it's very heavy. So if this were living on a tree, it would just fall down without growing to its full size, right? But there are some fruits like your langka, the jackfruit, that can reach up to 10 to 20 kilograms on the plant. Okay, so it hangs down from the plant, but it doesn't fall down. So that shows you the good adaptations of your jackfruit, your langka. All right. What else? So we have here. All right. So let's add in a bonus fruit myth. So we have here an apple. So I'll just slice it in half. Oh, all right. Okay, so is it visible? All right. So let me just show you. So we have here our apple fruit. Okay, so if you'll notice, you can see here, there's a sort of off-colored portion at the middle. So this is the true fruit of the part of your apple. So that's the only actual part that bears the seeds. So this is very similar to your strawberry, wherein the red part of your strawberry is the receptacle of the flower, where it attaches to the stem. Here, the apple is also the same thing. So this one, the fruit part that you're eating, the quote-unquote fruit part, is actually the receptacle of the apple fruit. Okay, so it enlarges when it's fertilized, and then it covers the true fruit here at the middle, which bears your seeds. All right, so we have our first question. So are GMOs bad for you? Is that right? Okay, so are GMOs bad for you? So the short answer is no. So if, say for example, okay, first let's define genetically modified organisms. So it's any organism, say a plant, an animal, or a fungi like a mushroom, wherein its DNA, the genetic code inside, is modified either naturally or artificially. But usually in, say for example, science fiction, we mean the artificial way, where humans engineer the differences. Okay? So say for example, we don't have eggplants here. So your BT talong, so that's one kind of genetically modified organism. So the only thing that they changed is that it's more resistant to pests. So say for example, that certain pest eats the talong, it would secrete a compound, or it has a compound that can kill or prevent that pest from eating it again. So that has no effect on humans, but it's still genetically, quote-unquote, genetically modified. Or say for example, your oranges or your lemons or any citrus fruit that is not part of the first five parents, those are technically genetically modified because you combined characteristics of different kinds of citrus fruits to bring out a certain outcome. So say for example, like we said earlier, your pomelo, the suha, and then your citrus micrantha merges to form your oranges, the sweet oranges. So this is already a genetically modified organism. But we don't know it, we don't notice it because it's naturally done. It's through actual breeding of different plants. So the GMOs are not necessarily bad. It just depends on what genes are changed in the DNA. Okay? So do we have other questions? Okay, so if you have no other questions, just place your questions down below so that we can get to them throughout the day. All right, so that ends our Mind at Home for this morning. Don't forget to wash your hands when you're doing this activity or anywhere, even if especially if you go outside. So just a final reminder, please stay at home to help stop the spread of the virus. Always wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If you don't have running water, spray some alcohol, but at the earliest possible chance, please do wash your hands always. Alright, so while you're staying at home, please follow the Mind Museum on social media for more Mind at Home videos and materials. If you try some of our experiments, feel free to take a video and tag us. Alright, so we have a final pahabol question. So is it true that apple seeds have cyanide? Okay, so this is very true. So it has a compound. So if I could just get the apple seed. All right. So it has a compound called cyanide. So it's familiar to you because it's part of making bombs, your cyanide. So that's natural. It's part of the defense mechanism of your apple. So say for example, a bat or some other animal eats the seed. For some animals, that level of cyanide is already toxic. So that can already deter them from eating more apple fruits. So it's part of the defense mechanism of your apple. But say for example, for humans, since we're bigger animals, we're bigger species, the amounts of cyanide inside your apple is not toxic. So it's alright if you eat your apple seeds, and it's okay really because it just passes through your digestive system. So you don't have the enzymes, you don't have chemicals to break down the apple seed. So it will just pass through your intestines back to your rear. Okay, so just for an additional information, so plants like your eggplant, the eggplant fruit actually has nicotine inside. The same chemical that is in tobacco, in your cigarettes. But the amounts are very minimal that you don't experience the usual effects of nicotine from cigarettes. Okay, so it's just there as a defense mechanism for your plants. Alright, so if you have other pahabol questions, just leave them in the comment section below. We'll answer them throughout the day. Thank you very much for watching our Mind at Home this morning. Stay safe at home, everyone. Bye-bye.